Yo boys, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing some good old fashioned Resto Druid BM Hunter. This is a gold carry. However, this hunter played overall pretty good. We actually won a lot of games. And these are the games that we're posting pretty much. So we're playing Resto Druid. We are running a build to where we can kind of play melee-ish. So usually when it comes down to the shields, I just try to immediately get them off. I use Bash, use Maim. So we pretty much got all the shields off with the Purge and the opener, which is really good for us. Now we usually Heart of the Wild. Heart of the Wild basically not only gives you an extra healing ability in bear form, but obviously it's going to make your clones really quick. So here we're just spamming clones. Usually I like to clone the DPS once he uses wall or when he's low HP. It just depends on, when the DRs are coming off. So here we get full CC. They still have yet to play the game. Here he walls. So this is a situation where off the trap, we get a ton of pressure. We'll see what happens here though. So here he's getting low. At this point, we can look for the stun, and then off the stun, we can look for the cyclone. The reason we're cycloning him is because the DR is off on the Evoker. So what we can do is we can either clone the DPS and then swap it, or just clone the healer. We'll see what happens here. This is a hard counter to Resto too. So like these guys should destroy us, only because the Evoker is hard counter Resto. So here we get a full clone. I'm gonna trank bait his kick out. After this, we can bash him. Off this, we can clone him if we want. So we might reclone. We'll see. Nope, it looks like we don't. He can trap actually. So we get a full. Uh, yeah. Okay. So here he uses the big CD. So this is where we cyclone the Evoker. So basically half his healing was pretty useless. So he used one of his biggest CDs. They still have trinkets, but they don't really have anything major now. So here we fake cast. We get a full clone on the healer. Off the clone, we can get a full trap, which gets us trinket. And then I can clone him again. Because he's going to trinket the trap. I'm going to immediately DR stun. Go for the cyclone. The guy's still dying. Again, we're going to go for the cyclone again. So here we're going to cyclone the evoker low. And then swap it. So that gives us just enough time to just take him out. So it basically it stopped there any type of momentum of him healing. And that's why cloning DPS at times can be very good. Because there's nothing that's going to save him at that low. Especially if he doesn't already have his casting ability going. So by cycloning the DPS, it gives us just enough time to where we can not only re-CC the healer, but it puts the healer off course of, whether he was going to click a big major spell or not. We faced a lot of Evokers. I think almost every single match but one is an Evoker clip. The Evokers are very popular right now. Same with like Mistweavers. They're very, very popular. So here we're going to open. Usually, again, you're going to go DPS. So here we rake him, and he immediately stuns. Off this, we're going to immediately use our NS and then go in tree form. Um, Usually while you're in tree form, it's very hard to die just because your healing is so good. So here we're cycloning the shields off, we're spamming it, it looks like it gets a really good kick. So again, we're just trying to get those shields off. So here he karma, so we can either cyclone the Windwalker, or we can just keep cycloning the shields. So here we finally get the shields off, and at this point now we can do our CC chain. So here I trinket the sleep, we're going to get over there quick, we're going to stun him, we're going to cyclone off this if we can. We're going to try to fake cast it. It looks like he immediately kicks me. So off this, we get a full trap. So a really good trap of my guy. I knock him off to the side. Off this, we're going to full cyclone. We're going to cyclone his trinket if he does. It doesn't look like he's going to because the Windwalker walled. So here we try to go for another cyclone, but obviously at this point, not going to happen. We actually end up almost dying. So had I not pre-bared that go, we would have been in big trouble. And it didn't even look like I was dying. They haven't even clicked really a single major ability on me yet. So that's how fast, Resto can die. They die very, very quick. So here we get a full trap. Off this, we're going to get a full clone. And we're going to keep the damage going. So here we're going to clone the Windwalker because he has his defensive CD up. Then we're going to swap it. So basically, his entire defensive cooldown is useless. So that's why cycloning DPS is always good, especially when they use like sack and stuff like that. So here we get a full maim into a full cyclone or trap. So full cyclone off that, and then the game's pretty much over. We have a full trap off that if we need to. At that point, it's pretty much overkill, and it's GG's. So it pretty much just comes down to those DPS cyclones that'll end up winning you games. Warrior, we should win this, because obviously caster's hard counter Warrior. Warrior should really rarely ever beat a caster in 2v2 arena, just because it's so hard to just catch anybody nowadays. So here we end up with a rake, into a stun, into a full cyclone. So we pretty much just solo do everything in the opener by myself. My guy can trap off that if he wants. Otherwise, we're just going to reclone. And that's pretty much that. So here we root the warrior, pretty much stopping the warrior from hitting my guys is what we're trying to do. It's warrior CD. He's probably gonna fear me here in a few seconds off the stun. Yep, so full fear. And then he puts Song Chi on top of that. Again, we're gonna get ready to do our CC chain. We still have traps, so we can trap at any point in time here. Here we're getting ready to do our CC chain. So here we get a disorient into a DR trap. Um, no, actually, we didn't trap. So here I get a full clone. So we get a full clone. Then we're going to swap the clone. So we're cloning the DPS because he has Dive with the Swords. He's not going to take any damage. So here we're going to reclone him one more time. So we clone him one more time. And that's pretty much our go. So off this, we can maim him if we want, or just hold it. So yeah, we get a full maim off that. And our go is pretty much done at that point in time. So really, one more or two more setups, and we pretty much win the game. So here we get a full rake. We're going to knock him off the side. He actually revivals it. So he uses one of his biggest CDs to stop CC on a knock. So that's not good for him. So at this point, he's gonna disorient into a DR trap into a clone here. So we're gonna go for the clone here in a second. So here any second now, looks like I'm trying to heal. So a full clone off that, so we get a full clone. He's probably gonna trinket this, so I'm gonna get ready to reclone him. We're gonna reclone him and then get it one more time. So here we're gonna cyclone the warrior, because obviously again, anytime they use a major cooldown and it's on their DPS, you might as well just CC him. As you can see, we end up almost killing the Mistweaver as well. He ends up almost dying. So we end up almost killing both of them in the right there. So we get wall. We don't get trinket, but without orb, he's not gonna be able to heal through the damp. So at this point, we get a full trap. I try to fake cast. He immediately kicks me. At this point, now we're gonna cyclone, so we get a full clone. We're gonna clone his trinket in case he does it. So here we're gonna clone again. And the game's pretty much over. So again, it doesn't really matter if he's not in CC at the end there. He should have immediately trinketed. So the fact that he held, that was a bad play. So Evoker Ret Paladin, again another Evoker. Evokers can be very annoying, especially at a Resto, because all your hots get purged every 10 seconds. So it's like, it's pretty broken. So here we open with a rake. We're gonna get our go going. We're gonna immediately bash, maim, do whatever we have to do to get the shields. So here we cyclone again, cycle one more time. So we got 2 shields off right there. We're gonna immediately tree for him before he can do anything. Here we try to fake cast him. We'll fake cast him again. Looks like he just won't click kick. So at this point, again, we're just topping him off. While you're in tree form, again, it's really hard to die because you do have so much healing. It's like having wings for an HPL. Maybe even better just because you can't be CC'd. So here we're getting spam slapped. At this point, we're going to basically get ready to do our go. So we cyclone the ret, and then we're going to get ready to swap it. So here he actually trinkets my cyclone. So we were going to bash into a full trap or clone. So we get a full clone. So we basically got every CD. And then we have a full trap. So he has to use his big heal on top of that. So he has the lay on hands on top of that. We DR cyclone, and on top of that, he has to bubble. So we get land hands, double trinket, and bubble just from that one go. That's where those cyclones can come in handy. So here we know anytime anybody's running over to you, you know they're going to be opening on you. So just be ready to immediately bear form. Pre-bearing goes will literally win you games because you can die very quick. If the Rep Paladin went me with Hodges, he'd probably be able to win this game pretty easily. Thankfully they didn't. So here we get a full maim. We're gonna rake. Even if it's DR, we get a full clone. He ends up trapping, overlapping. It is what it is. We DR stun just so I can get another DR cyclone. Now we can cyclone the Ret Paladin if we can. At this point, there's no point in going for it because obviously I'm low HP. And by the time we get to it, the boss is already gonna end. So here we actually clone him anyway. So we stop the healer from topping his guy off. Now we're taking the shields off from his healer. So then we can do our CC. So here again, we're trying to take his shields off. He gets a full Seer Glare. We're going to dispel myself. It looks like he's going me. He DR stuns. That was a bad mistake by him. At this point, we pretty much win the game. All we really need is one more solid go. And as you can see, I am taking a lot of damage right now. And that's only from this guy. So no stuns. That's just with him pure, pure doing damage. So here we're getting away for a second. At this point, we should win the game as long as we hit a trap. Or really any CC in the game here. So here we get a full maim into a site. The game's over. He has to trinket this. If he doesn't trinket it, he gets hit with a full trap. So he actually might survive this. So here we still have actually no, we don't have a trap. It looks like he might have missed it, but it's okay. So here we end up not really getting much. So they don't really have any CDs but trinkets. However, we still have trinkets and every CD ourselves. So we're still very far ahead. So here we might as well go for the drink when you can. Especially when your teammate has every CD, because sometimes a lot of the games as Resto are just going to be hard damp. So here we're going to immediately trinket, because again, our goal is to stay as far as we can. So here we get a full bash. He communions, it doesn't do any healing, and then we get the full clone. Communion just sucks. It is such a terrible CD. It does no healing. And especially when it comes down, like every time I've ever used it, it either does a ton of healing or it does nothing. It barely heals anybody, just like it did there. Literally did no healing. So again, same comp, same thing. You're gonna go the rep paladin. This one was a little bit quicker, I think, but we pretty much just do the same thing. Put a hots up. We're gonna immediately break this guy, and then we're getting our opener on this guy. And again, immediately getting those shields off when we can. So here we're trying to fake cast him so we can get the shields. He ends up immediately kicking me. At this point, again, we're trying to cycle him off. He kicks me again. That's 2 kicks in a row. But at least we baited him out early, so now we don't have to worry about it. So we pre-bear for him this time, which forces the red to go on the hunter. Again, pre-bearing is literally life or death. Otherwise, they get free CDs from it. So here we get a full select. I can trinket, but usually when my teammate has a ton of CDs, I'll let him press first. Because obviously we don't want to overlap. He's going to have to press anyway. So here we go for a full clone, so we get a full clone. At this point, we're pretty much using our swiftness to rejuvenate. Because you get way more bonus healing when you do that. Same thing with like Swiftman, Ennis, Regrowth. So it's like you're gonna get a lot of healing from that. And as you can see, that's where most of my healing is coming from. So here we end up getting a lot of CDs again, double trinket, lay on hands. We got pretty much everything. So here we go for the clone. I tried to clone him low, but he ends up we just get bubble regardless. So the reason we're not cloning right now is because obviously the guy's in a bubble. So even though the clone DR is off, there's no point of cloning somebody when he's in bubble or something like that. So here now we get the full clone, which allows us to get in tree form. Basically stops us from getting hodged or any type of CC. We fake cast the rat here. At this point, the game's pretty much over for them. No bubble. They don't really have anything left. All we need is a simple CC chain. So here we're spam cloning to get his stuff so we can CC him. Need one more to go off, so we're going to go for it again. Even if we have to like 1 second maim to take the shield. So now we get a full clone. Now the game is over. So the moment we got those shields off, now we're just going to spam clone. We clone again. And then off the clone, he can trap. So we clone again, and then he can trap. And the game should be over. So here we get another CC. Now we get a stun into a full trap. Now the game should be pretty much lights out. If it's not lights out, it's going to be very close. So here we're doing big damn. We maim him here. We're going to try to cycle in the rep paladin just because he has bop. Now there's no point. So here we get a full trank because we got precog. And again, your trank will do a lot of healing if you use it correctly. So here we end up getting a full CC. We really just need one more CC chain. So here I immediately trinket into a bash, into a cycle, and the game's pretty much over at this point in time. And the next one we have is Mage. This was actually a very long game considering that we actually countered this. Hunters should destroy mages. Like it shouldn't even be close. But this guy actually stood a pretty good chance against us. So here again, we're usually just going to train the mage. So here we open with the rake, and then we go for a bash. He ends up tricketing late, so we are going to full cyclone. After this, we can just tree form immediately. You're pretty much just tree forming off CD. It's way too much healing to not use. So here we're spamming him. We're going to try to cyclone the mage to on his ultra time, which basically allows us to wait it out. Because again, there's no point in hitting somebody into ultra time. They're just going to go back anyway. So here we're going to dispel the hunter off his frost bomb, which honestly people still run that, which is surprising. So here, my guy ends up using Pet Sack. We immediately start healing him up here. We're using our Rejuvenate. At this point, now we can do a DR Rake into a cycle. And even though it's DR Rake, and again, as you can see, I'm tracking kicks. So I already knew he had kicked by Omnibar. So anytime you know somebody has a long range kick, just go for the kick cast. A lot of times you will get it. So, you know, that's what I always like to do. So if they have a kick, I'll try to bait it, but there's no point of waiting like 10 minutes. So, you know, if you fake cast twice and they're not kicking you, then you have to just go for it. Even if they kick you, it's worth it. So here we get trinket from a full trap here. I'm trying to fake cast him so I can get the clone. The goal of fake casting him is not to necessarily clone him right there because it was off DR, or it was on DR, but to just bait out his kick for when I can. So here we has PS, a good moment to cyclone if we can. We know the mage is trying to open on us, so we're not going to go for the cyclone. We're just going to permaline. Here we get a full bash into a full clone. And we should get block here, or we should get something. So here he ultra times, we're going to clone again if we can, so we clone one more time. We do get block, so major cooldowns being used. At this point, we're really far ahead. We still have turtle, double wall, trinkets, everything. So here we have every CD. So here we get to full fear into a full stun. Most likely we have to trinket this because it is all of his CDs plus wall plus, yeah, it's too much. So now we have to trinket that. It's a good trade because it's on all of his damage. So at this point we're using our proc and we get a full clone. So now again, another clone. He has a trap that he can throw at the healer. I'll see if he gets it. The one thing you can do is try to root the healer so he can get it. Usually they just stun trap anyway. So here we're gonna try to clone again if we can, or we're just gonna stun him. It looks like we're trying to get to a stun here, but we didn't have combo points for it, so it's whatever. So again, just waiting for the clone DR, waiting for our stuns, and doing the same thing over and over again, and watching out for sheeps, because a lot of time one sheep can be brutal to us. Because all it really takes is one setup sheep, and it can be game over. So here we get a full clone off this. He ends up kicking me last second, so we end up getting blocked anyway with my DR stun. So we're really far ahead. We haven't gotten trinkets, but the healer is almost zoom, and they're both like 10%, 5%. You think the healer would die here, but he actually survived. You know, it was actually crazy lucky. I honestly thought he would just die. So here he ends up getting the kick, so I kick, giving him precog. You think he would die right here, even though he actually survives. So he gets really lucky surviving there. Regardless, we're still really far ahead. Um, but however, there are chances I can die. Again, the mage is actually doing unhealable damage to me right now. So here we pre-bear form. Again, anytime somebody's chasing after you like that, you know they're gonna go on you, or they're about to CC you, so you might as well bear. So here we open. We're going for the clone. We try to fake cast him here. Still trying to fake cast him. He's just not kicking me. Try to fake cast him again. The thing is, we're fake casting a lot, not only for the cyclone, but basically bait out kicks. Because without kick, usually you're never able to clone. So here we get a full maim behind a pillar, into a stun, into a trap. The game's pretty much over, so hopefully you guys do enjoy this video. Let me know what you guys want to see next. It's Ben X. I'm trying to keep the videos up to date and as many as I can, but it was my birthday the 9th, so happy birthday to myself. Anybody that wants donation, link down below. Otherwise, it's Ben X. Peace, peace.